Breaking down the Vikings from the perspective of a former NFL General Manager of the Year. It's Jeff Diamond's Purple Report. Presented by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
Welcome to Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday during the Vikings season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN, available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. I'm Jeff Diamond, former Vikings GM, former Tennessee Titans president. Our producer is AJ Fredrickson, does a great job putting the show together with lots of great highlights. And there were some amazing highlights from Sunday in Atlanta. And so we'll get kind of to the breakdown of this game and look ahead to the Saints game, talk about some big games around the NFL. The Eagles beat the Cowboys, NFC East showdown. Kansas City beats Miami over in Germany. Lots of exciting games around the league, but none more exciting than the Vikings win in Atlanta, 31-28. Big comeback, wild win, and Josh Dobbs, the hero of the day. What an unbelievable performance by this quarterback who has bounced around the NFL on his seventh team. I think it was his fifth team in the last year, calendar year.
Wow. And
Josh Dobbs has an amazing performance that started very rocky. We're going to see some highlights shortly, but he came through in the clutch. And just the amazing thing about the whole experience, AJ, is you think about a guy that had no practice with the starters last week, no reps at all. He's learning a new system, which shows how smart he is. He's an aeronautical engineer major at Tennessee, and he definitely showed his smarts by being able to absorb what he could in basically 3 days in town before they headed to Atlanta. Gets a win in his hometown, and an important win from the standpoint that the Atlanta Falcons came to the game 4-4, as did the Vikings. Mm-hmm. The Falcons are a team that the Vikings could possibly be competing with for a wild card spot. Now they've got a head-to-head win over them, which is the first tiebreaker. The Vikings now have a one-game lead on the playoff spot, holding that last wild card. They're only a half a game behind Seattle and Dallas for the first and second wild cards, and a game and a half behind Detroit. Interesting next week, if the Vikings can beat the Saints on Sunday at US Bank Stadium, while the Lions have a tough road game at LA against the Chargers. If those results go the way the Vikings want, the Vikings could be a half game out after 10 games and still having 2 games ahead with the Lions. So really a huge win on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And like you said, the 0 snaps for Josh Dobbs during the week leading up. And, you know, he only got here on, Wednesday? So we saw a cadence pretty much like they're working out his snap cadence on the sideline before him going in. And after the game, I know he said, like, he didn't really know even some of the guys' full names, which I think is hilarious because, you know, Brandon Powell is not a wide receiver one for this team normally, but given the circumstances, you know, he's seeing number 4 run across, like, oh, another classic route by big old 4 there. Let's throw him the game-winning touchdown. Just fun stuff. I can't wait to see what Josh Dobbs and Kevin O'Connell can cook up here with a full week of preparation under their belts. But before we look ahead, I think it's time to look back at Sunday. What do you say?
Yeah, I think definitely. And as I said, you talk about exciting wins and momentous wins, and it reminded me a lot of the Buffalo game last year in midseason when the Vikings got the big win in Buffalo. You talk about amazing comeback, fourth down, amazing conversions. Last year was Justin Jefferson on 4th and 18, the catch of the year in the NFL. In this particular game, it was 4th and 7. When at the end of the game, when Josh Dobbs evades a sack, almost a sure sack it looked like, from Bud Dupree, got away from him, got that first down. Just incredible performance on a lot of levels. And I've seen a lot of games with backup quarterbacks coming in and winning games. I saw Tommy Kramer as a rookie throw 3 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter to beat the 49ers. I saw Wade Wilson with a great comeback against the Eagles. I've seen those performances. But the difference is those guys were there all year, learning the system, knowing the offense, in tune with the offensive coordinator. This was just unreal how it all unfolded, how it turned out. And then you combine it with the defense making a couple of big plays that we're going to see too. So let's get to our highlights, and then we'll hear from the coach and hear from the hero of the day, Josh Dobbs. let's start out. First of all, it was Chris Myers and Mark Schlereth on Fox. Early in the game, Jaron Hall. I think it's really unfortunate, sad for him, because he was off to a decent start in the game. He drove them downfield, hit Madison on a 47-yarder to get him in position on an early drive. And then I think the really crazy thing about this game and sports in general, how one thing can lead to another. The play, we're going to see the first play where Jaron Hall gets hurt, but the play before that, he misses Hawkinson, who's wide open in the end zone. If he completes that pass, he very well doesn't have to have he won't have the next play where he gets concussed, and he may well finish that game. We may never have seen Josh Dobbs. Yeah. Just unbelievable stuff that can happen. So let's get to the highlights on Fox, and this is the play when Jaron Hall gets hurt.
3rd and goal. Jaron Hall is going to run and be kicked out of the end zone.
And the thing there is, I wasn't able to find a good slow-mo replay of it, but it's the whiplash of his head, the back of his head. It wasn't the initial hit, but the smack of the back of the head on the turf there in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That, that's the one that really got them all. The bell was rung, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. There was a little bit of helmet-to-helmet contact, but I think you're right. I think it was more banging the head on the turf, on that hard artificial turf at an indoor stadium. And Josh Dobbs comes into the game early on after the Vikings kick a field goal to tie the game 3-3. We're early second quarter, and this is really Dobbs' first series. Holds the ball a little too long, and Calais Campbell, the wily vet, gets to him.
They're going to bring the heat. Well, they only send a few, and he's going to be brought down to the end zone. Calais Campbell is going to get a Falcon safety. And that's 2 for Atlanta.
Seemed like a baseball game at this point, 5-3 Atlanta. And so as we move forward, the Vikings, again, moving the ball and have a pretty decent drive going. Josh Dobbs fumbles, and the Falcons pick it up, run back to the 1-yard line.
Onyemata from Nigeria on first down. Dobbs is gliding around and tries to get rid of it. That looks like a fumble, and it's ruled a fumble on the field. Lorenzo Carter has it for the Falcons.
Now, let's have to give some credit here to Josh Oliver, the tight end, who ran down the Falcon player and prevented the touchdown, which set up the defense's first big stand in this game, where they had a goal line stand. They're at the 1-yard line, 1st and goal at the 1. The Falcons jump offside, false start, and then gets the 3rd and goal. A big stop. Daniil Hunter, Jordan Hicks, Josh Metellus, Cam Bynum combined on a 4-yard loss and hold the Falcons to a field goal at that point. I thought that was a really important part of the game, that with these turnovers by Dobbs, the Falcons could only turn the 2 turnovers in Vikings territory into 6 points. And we're going to see later what happens when the Falcons turn the ball over a couple times. And I think that was one of the big differences in the game. So at this point, the Vikings then start driving. Dobbs is moving the ball, has some big completions. KJ Osborne catches a ball on a big 3rd down, takes a headshot, and he's knocked out of the game. So now Dobbs is working with no Justin Jefferson. and by the way, O'Connell did talk about him today at his media session, said he's making really good progress. They're going to see if they're going to play him this week against the Saints. We'll know more midweek whether they open the window for him to start practicing. But who saw the Vikings going 4-0 with Justin Jefferson on IR, their best player? I'm not sure anybody ever would have predicted that.
No, an insane sort of set of circumstances.
And winning the last game with no Cousins, and a quarterback coming in with no practice. So crazy stuff happening. But on this particular drive, it ends up with a touchdown. On a 3rd and 10 play, Dobbs makes a great play evading the blitz and gets downfield to the 2-yard line. Had a great block from Cam Akers. Unfortunately, Cam Akers, who's been the Vikings' best back, it was confirmed today he has a torn Achilles. That Achilles seems to be the injury of the year between Cousins and Aaron Rodgers and Cam Akers and others.
And now Daniel Jones as well.
And Daniel Jones, I think he has an ACL.
Excuse me.
Yeah. But this particular place, that run on 3rd and 10, a huge play, and sets up this touchdown pass to Alexander Madison.
Dobbs has it. He's throwing and held out to Madison for the touchdown, Vikings.
And not to be mean either, Jeff, but it's nice to see Alexander Madison catch one of those.
Yeah, definitely. He caught the 47-yarder, too. And he's going to have to be even better with no Cam Akers now. Ty Chandler's going to have to play a bigger role. Kene Nwangwu perhaps got to play a bigger role, too. So it is a big loss of Akers, but I think they've got enough depth at running back. And I think Chandler is a guy that has been underutilized. He's got great speed, and I think he can be very effective. We'll see how that plays out. And so at this point, it's 11-10 at halftime. There was kind of a sequence at the end of the half, too, that was interesting when the Vikings have a punt return by Brandon Powell, who has become a very important player, caught the winning touchdown pass we'll see shortly. But Powell had a 24-yard punt return. There's 9 seconds left. The Vikings are at their own 40. Now, it's hard to criticize Kevin O'Connell on a day when he got this quarterback to play unbelievably well and just all the stress of that whole thing. But I thought that with 9 seconds left, they need about 20 yards to give Joseph a shot, and he's having a pretty good day. He had a big rebound game for him, made all 5 of his kicks. So I would have liked to have seen Kevin O'Connell give Dobbs a chance to throw it downfield with 9 seconds left, try to set up a field goal, but didn't, took the knee, 11-10 at halftime. Before we go to the second half, I want to talk a little bit about our great sponsor, GMC. There are trucks, then there's the truck, GMC Sierra, with available features like the V8 engine, the ultimate luxury interior, and of course, the available world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, not just any truck, the truck. GMC's commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your local GMC dealer. Come take a test drive today and see for yourself. We are professional-grade GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra light-duty models, plus no monthly payments until 2024. See your local GMC dealer today. Length of contract limited, deferred monthly payments for 120 days, excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine, must finance with GM Financial, down payment required at signing if applicable. Finance charges accrue from the date of financing. Some customers will not qualify, not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 12/4/23. So we head to the second half, and what a momentous second half it was, and it did not start out well again because there was a fumble by Josh Dobbs, and the Vikings defense held the Falcons to a field goal. Then on the next series, Hawkinson breaks a tackle, protects the ball, 29-yard gain, sets up a 3rd and 9. Tristan Jackson, again, with Osborne out, Jefferson out, and all these backup guys are in there, Brandon Powell, Tristan Jackson. Fortunately, Jordan Addison was still there. But Jackson dropped a 3rd and 9 pass that could have been a touchdown or certainly a first down, and that set up a field goal, 14-13 at this point. Then the Vikings defense came to play, but first of all, there was a bad play where Jonnu Smith broke through for a 60-yard touchdown.
Snap penalties, and they've had a bunch of them.
A quick throw, trying to beat the blitz. Smith, loose. Jonnu Smith, he's taking it all the way in for a Falcon touchdown. And slides in the tunnel to finish.
Slides right on his rear end into the tunnel. And all of a sudden, 21-13, not feeling real good at this point in time about the Vikings' chances. But, as I said, the defense takes over thereafter, and on the next defensive series, Atlanta's got the ball, and it looks like they're going to start to drive again. But then perhaps the biggest defensive play in the game, Caleb Evans, who has had an up-and-down season, up-and-down game on Sunday, a little shaky in coverage, but his tackling has improved, and here he forces a huge fumble that's recovered by Josh Metellus in the pile.
He's no angel in the outfield, I'll tell you that. Robinson is loose. Ball's out. Scramble for it. Looks like Atlanta had a shot first, but let's see.
And that's a pile right there. That is a big scrum.
Well, Atlanta had the first shot at the recovery, but the signal says Vikings have it.
That's just a great job by Josh Patelis to manage to maneuver that ball out of that mess.
Right.
And so the Vikings then have a drive that is culminated by this great scramble by Josh Dobbs, again, showing his athleticism, showing his strength, which we saw later on the huge 4th and 7th play. In this case, an 18-yard touchdown run.
Two guy along with Jordan Addison in this game. Trying to throw quick. Dobbs is going to try and outrun the defender, and he gets another first down. Dobbs has a touchdown for the Vikings. He kept it himself.
What a play. That was a fantastic play.
Oh, yeah.
And followed it up with a scramble on a 2-point conversion and hits Tristan Jackson on that play, which kind of sort of made up for his drop earlier. We don't want to see any drops, but that was a nice diving catch by Jackson. Tied the game at 21, which, again, improbable.
Yeah.
What was going on, that the Vikings were in this game. The roller coaster game for Dobbs continued, but the Vikings defense stepped up again, and Byron Murphy makes an interception.
Up in his own end zone, he's answered with a couple of touchdowns. Heineke comes out throwing. That's intercepted. Byron Murphy Jr. with the pick.
And that set up the Vikings again. Dobbs to Akers, big first down. Akers on a screen, then he hobbles off with the Achilles injury. 3rd and 14, they can't convert, and Greg Joseph kicks another field goal. Vikings up 24-21. Again, I say the big difference in this game, the Falcons getting 6 points off of their 2 turnovers. The Vikings getting 11 points off of their 2 turnovers. That's the difference in the ball game. Besides Josh Dobbs outplaying Taylor Heineke in this game, Heineke was very erratic, throwing a lot of wild balls. And the Falcons penalty prone in this game. They had 8 penalties. Vikings only had 1 penalty for 4 yards. That's a formula that can lead to a lot of success if they continue. They also had very few penalties in Green Bay last week. At this point, as we said, 24-21, Vikings, and the Falcons go on a 7-minute, 79-yard drive, and they ran the ball on 12 of the last 13 plays. The Vikings defense was just worn down at this point, and so they scored the touchdown to go ahead. Atlanta's up 28-24, 2 minutes to go, thinking, well, it was an exciting game. The Vikings are starting at their 25-yard line. They got to go 75 yards. Big play in this drive. Here's a tremendous catch by rookie Jordan Addison.
Here, and he is really cool back there.
Sideline throw a little high. Addison gets a catch. It's ruled a catch despite the hit from Richie Grant.
And it sure looked at first like he was knocked out of bounds. But what a play by Jordan Addison. He's just having such an outstanding rookie season. And the other thing I liked on that play was the way Dobbs stepped up in the pocket, used his mobility, and made a perfect throw. Just, as I said, part of his amazing day. Then the Vikings now were under a minute, 52 seconds left, 4th and 7. And this is just the play of the game by Josh Dobbs, where he's able to escape a sack attempt by Bud Dupree. Quesenberry is starting for Christian Darrisaw in this game. The Vikings need Darrisaw back. Quesenberry did okay, but he's not their main guy. Darrisaw is a Pro Bowl caliber tackle. They need him back against the Saints, who are a top 10 defense, and hopefully that'll be the case with that groin injury that could be a little tricky. But here's 4th and 7, and with 52 seconds left.
Dobbs on 4th down. The pressure's coming. He gets away for the moment, but look out from behind. He's going to get the first down. He's going to get more than that. And knocked out of bounds.
Incredible play, and sets up this touchdown to win the game.
3rd and 4. Time. Catch! Brandon Powell! Touchdown Vikings! And they have the lead!
They had the lead, and they held it. We all held our breath at the end, but they did hold the lead. As we said, just a huge win. Get over 500 at 5-4 for the first time this season on a 4-game winning streak of won 5 of 6. The Vikings are basically the second highest team in the league behind Jacksonville's won 5 straight. The Vikings, the Bengals, and the Ravens have won 4 straight. And they're a team to watch in the second half of the season. And you can bet the Detroit Lions are definitely a little wary of what's going on right now in Minnesota, even without Kirk Cousins. So we shall see what shakes out this week. There's going to be a lot of big questions about injury guys coming back and getting ready for the Saints game. But let's hear from Kevin O'Connell after the game in the locker room. This was a great scene. The team was very amped up, as you'll see.
It's all about what makes our game so special and so great is no matter what the circumstances are, a group of men have a chance to decide, what do I want to do for the guy next to me? Regardless of if you've been here for about 10 minutes, or Daniil Hunter and some of you guys that have been here, to Harrison Smith, you've been in this locker room a long time. And we needed every last guy today. Every last guy. All right? But I want to highlight a couple guys because that felt like the most team win I've ever been a part of. All right, Greg Joseph, 11 points, 3 of 3 field goals. All right, how about this guy? Showed up to the stadium today, had no idea he was going to go out there and play every single snap on offense for us. David Questenberg. Thank you. All Jordan Hicks did is show up, make 11 tackles, and sack. All right. Hey, Byron Murphy shows up today. Interception and 3 tackles. Caleb Evans, when we had to have it. This guy's worked on his tackling every day that I can remember. You get the ball out, change the game. That ball comes out. It was every man for himself in that pile. And who was surprised to see 4-4 come out? But joining this guy right here is every single guy in this locker room. Player and coach that put it out there, put it on the line today. All right, but what we learned today is regardless of circumstance, the Minnesota Vikings push onward. In addition to everybody getting one in here, he deserves to keep the actual one he played with, Josh Dobbs.
That's a great moment in the locker room with Josh Dobbs after that fantastic win over Atlanta on Sunday. Before we hear from Josh, the hero of the day, let's hear from GMC, our great sponsor.
GMC continues its commitment to professional-grade engineering in the GMC Truck Series, like offering the world's first available 6-function multi-pro tailgate on Sierra. Try the GMC Canyon with powerful and innovative features engineered and built for all your adventures to come. Or get behind the wheel of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty with an available Allison 10-speed transmission. The list goes on, but it's more than just innovative engineering. It's knowing GMC is committed to professional-grade excellence on every level. We are professional-grade. GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra light-duty models. Plus, no monthly payments until 2024. See your local GMC dealer today. Length of contract limited. Deferred monthly payments for 121 days. Excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine. Must finance with GM Financial. Down payment required at signing if applicable. Finance charges accrue from data financing. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/2/23.
So, as we kind of look around the NFL and talk about some of the things that happened on Sunday, last year's Super Bowl teams, the Eagles and the Chiefs, had important wins. The Eagles beating their arch rival, the Dallas Cowboys, opening a 2.5-game lead in the NFC East with a 28-23 win. Dak Prescott's been playing really well in a year where he's trying to get a contract extension, and he had the Cowboys on the cusp at the end of the game before a sack and a penalty set him back, and they couldn't quite pull it off. But Jalen Hurts, again, another big game, 2 TD passes, a touchdown rush. Kansas City was up 21-0 in the game in Germany against Miami, a team they're competing with for the best record in the AFC. And then the Dolphins came back in the second half. There was a big play. I kind of loved this play in the first half when Trent McDuffie stripped Tyreek Hill of the ball. I'm not a big Tyreek Hill fan for obvious reasons with his background and all the different bad things he's done in his lifetime. But in this case, Kansas City held on for the 21-14 win. Bengals beat the Bills as they did in last year's playoff game. They're rolling. They're at 5-3. That AFC North, what a great division. All 4 teams with winning records. The Ravens crushed Seattle 37-3. And just really all 4 teams, Ravens 7-2, and then the other 3 teams, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals all at 5-3. Vikings and Saints this week, renewing their great rivalry over the years. That includes last year's win in London, where, as we recall, Greg Joseph hit a late field goal, and then Will Lutz banged it off the upright from 61 that would have tied the game at the end. Justin Jefferson, it'd be nice if he can come back this week. He torched the Saints for 147 yards on 10 catches in that game. The Saints, a very good defensive team. They rank in the top 10, 7th overall, 7th against the pass. They're 17th against the rush. It's really important the Vikings try to get their running game going. It was dismal in the first half. They had 1 yard rushing at halftime and got it going a little better in the second half. Akers and Madison were running better. Josh Dobbs ended up being their leading rusher with 66 yards, and they may have to use his legs as well as his arm to help him get to where they want to go. But the Saints are going to be a challenging team. Derek Carr is their quarterback now. They've got a pretty good passing game, 11th ranked in the league. Big thing with the Saints, protect the ball. They're number 1 in the league in turnovers caused and turnover ratio. They've got 18 takeaways this season. That's going to be a big challenge for the Vikings. 12 interceptions they've got. So Josh Dobbs going to have to protect the ball and get help from his teammates catching the ball and not having drops and so forth. There are a couple other good games coming up on Sunday. You've got the Browns are at the Ravens in a big AFC North game that we've talked about. Also, Detroit, I mentioned before, playing at the Chargers. Big game for the Vikings. 49ers, off their 3 straight losses, are going to Jacksonville. So those are some of the games to watch this week. And as we said, we will be back next week on Monday with the breakdown of this Vikings-Saints game. I mentioned the series that they've had. Vikings win in London last year. The Vikings still remember that 2020 game when Alvin Kamara had 6 touchdowns in the game, but the Vikings had the all-important 2 playoff wins in 2017, including the Minneapolis Miracle, and 2019. It's been a great series with the Saints. Continue this week on Sunday. Vikings looking for their 6th win of the season, and we will be back to break it down next Monday. This has been Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday during the Viking season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN and available 24/7 on YouTube via 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. This is Jeff Diamond with our producer, AJ Fredrickson, and we wish you all a great week, and we wish Josh Dobbs a good week as he learns more about the Vikings offense and gets ready to take on the New Orleans Saints. Everybody have a great week. Talk to you next week.